So I have fortunately had a very good experience with all my managers and my bosses that I've worked with in very short duration across. So my one job was in CAIA in India. I would just make sure that I'm not lying to them. So even if I had a movie plan or something, I would tell them that tonight I'm going for a movie, and that is not during office hours, obviously it's after office hours. And even then, if I have to cancel, it's okay, it's not a problem, because my priorities are pretty straight. And when people talk about work-life balance, I say my work is worth balancing. At the beginning of my career, I want to struggle, I want to work hard, and I want to really learn and use most of my time in order to, honing my skills. That's the time to stretch yourself and to push your limits. So that's how I look at it, and that's how I prioritize. So I always have been very, very honest. I do not like people lying in the office, etc. as well. And that's what I did with them, and I think that kind of worked in my favor when I was in CAIA, because there was no beating around the bush, etc. If there was work which is normally there, I mean, you're working after office hours as well, and if there is something important, I would tell them, and of course they would cover up for me, or they would manage everything for me. So I think the communication part is very important, giving the right. So whenever you're interacting and working with somebody, for example, I remember my boss, he was extremely organized and I was not, in terms of Excel files and all of that, and the sheets and all, ordered sheets and all, page numbers, hyperlinked. And because also I was in an MIS profile, so it was important that I would have to, fetch data from multiple departments. Their data might be available on different dates. So what data do I need, on which date do I need? So having that, organizing that is very important. Otherwise it becomes so cluttered inside your mind. So I remember my boss, making those sheets so nicely. I'm yet to be as organized as him, but really trying very hard. But always try to learn, from your bosses and all. I don't know why people have so much of trouble with their bosses. I hope I can address that someday. But I have had a very pleasurable experience working with whomever I have worked with so far. So always try to learn, whatever good you see when you're working with somebody, try to imbibe that, try to take that as a challenge that, even I need to level up to that aspect. So while working on Excel file, I remember my boss's boss, whenever I used to take a file to him and we would sit and analyze the numbers and all of that, and he would sit down and very patiently, very calmly, he would be formatting the numbers first for the first 10 minutes. He wouldn't scold me that why did you not format the numbers and all, because I get very impatient in the office with regards to these, that why is it not accurately formatted and all. Of course, impatient with somebody who's done it before and who's been scolded before for the same thing. But the point is that I would see him so patiently formatting, the numbers start talking to you. So if I don't have the numbers aligned to the right and 0 decimal place and with the commas, it is very irritating, looking at the data, understanding the trend, trying to change the pivots again and again and seeing how the data is moving and all of that. So it was very interesting, and that was something I remember, that it should be very clearly, crisply formatted when you're working with your numbers, with your sheets, with your files. It has to be very accurately done. That is something I remember learning from him, and his patience.